All right, let's talk about something we do in English all the time, comparing things. Now, it sounds simple, but the rules can get a little bit tricky. So today, we're going to break it all down into a really clear, simple system you can use every single time. Let's jump in.
Okay, so to get this right, we've got to start at square one. We're going to build this whole system up from the absolute baseline, just describing one single thing all on its own.
So check this out. We've got a car, and we can describe it with one simple word, an adjective, fast. This car is fast. That's it. Simple, clear. We have our starting point.
But what happens when a new challenger rolls up? Suddenly, the situation gets a whole lot more interesting, and our language, well, it has to adapt.
And that's where things get interesting. We're adding a challenger. See, when you've got two things, just describing them isn't really enough anymore. We need a special tool to show how they stack up against each other.
So now, let's bring in a jet. We could say the car is fast and the jet is fast. I mean, both statements are true, but they're not very helpful, are they? They don't tell us the difference we all know is there. Our language is kind of failing us here.
And lucky for us, the tool we need for this job actually has a name. It's called the comparative adjective. Its entire reason for being is to solve this exact problem, comparing the differences between two things, and only two.
And bam, here it is in action. The jet is faster than the car. Just by adding those two little letters, ER, we've completely solved the problem. Now the sentence is crystal clear, it's precise, and it tells us exactly which one has the edge.
So, we've handled two things, but what happens when the competition gets even crazier? This is where we get to crown a champion, to find the ultimate one. What if a third challenger shows up that just blows the other two out of the water?
Okay, so here's our lineup. We've got the car, which is fast. We have the jet, which is faster. But now we have a rocket. So what do we call its speed? How do we describe that top-tier ultimate speed compared to the others? For this, we need to level up. We need the superlative adjective. Just think super. That's what it's for. This is the word we pull out when we want to pick just one thing from a group of three or more and declare it the absolute champion, the one at the very highest or lowest limit.
And the solution is beautiful. The rocket is the fastest of all. That little est at the end does all the heavy lifting. It signals that this is the absolute peak. Nothing else in this group is faster. We have our winner.
Okay, so we know what these words are, but how do we actually build them? This brings us to the rules of the game. Because knowing when to add versus est is the whole secret. And there are some really simple guidelines to follow. For most short, one-syllable words like fast or tall, it's easy. You just add or est. Done. And for words that end in a y, like happy, all you do is change that y to an I before adding the ending. So you get happier and the happiest. Honestly, these two rules cover a ton of the words you use every day.
But hang on a second. What about a longer word? What about a word like beautiful? Do we say beautifuler? No way. That just sounds clunky and wrong, doesn't it? Our brain immediately tells us that rule doesn't work here.
And that's because for longer words, we're talking 2 or more syllables usually, we don't change the word itself at all. Instead, we use a little helper word right in front of it. More for comparing two things, and the most for crowning that champion. More beautiful, the most beautiful. It just sounds so much cleaner, right?
All right, now for my favorite part of English, the rule breakers. Let's talk about the irregular outlaws. These are the words that just completely ignore all the nice patterns we just laid out.
Right? You have never in your life heard someone say their day was gooder than yours. It's like an alarm bell goes off in your head. It's an instant giveaway that something is not right. And that's because these words play by their own special rules. And here are the biggest culprits. Good becomes better and then the best. Bad becomes worse and then the worst. And far turns into further and the furthest. There's no real system here. These are words you just kind of have to memorize. But hey, the good news is the list is pretty short. So let's wrap all this up into a super simple checklist. Anytime you need to compare something, just run through these 3 questions. Number 1, how many things are you comparing? That'll tell you if you need a comparative or a superlative. Number 2, how many syllables does the word have? That tells you if you should add an ending or use more or most. And finally, number 3, is it one of those outlaws? If you can answer those 3 questions, you are going to get it right every single time.
And I'll leave you with this final thought. Language is always changing. It's always evolving.
Not too long ago, saying funner would have gotten you corrected. The rule was more fun. But today, funner's pretty common, at least when we're talking casually. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? Which of the strict rules we follow today might be totally different tomorrow? Anyway, something to think about. Thanks for watching.